charged up enough? Greetings, this is Queen at the Earth Lodge, and we are talking today about how we're harvesting. We're in the fall, sometimes called autumn. We're in a time where it's time for the leaves to fall off the trees, the colors of nature change, and so the planet has actually aligned itself to move into this new cycle. So all of this beauty is happening around us. The leaves, the trees, the fruits are going into harvest. Everything's falling to the earth and going back into the earth. So the trees, and I'm focusing on trees because they're actually shaking those leaves off that no longer are serving their process in this cycle, and they're releasing them into the earth. And that when they touch the earth, they form and they turn into sustainable energy that the earth and the new seedlings can use in the summertime. So nothing is wasted because energy never dies. It can only be transformed. Energy never dies. It can only be transformed. So how do I make this an event that is not happening outside of myself? Because the truth is, the absolute truth and the scientific truth is that it is actually something that is happening inside as well as outside of us. So how do I internalize spring? You see my beautiful, fall. You see my beautiful fall altar here? That is to help me stay rooted and grounded in the timeline of fall that's present with us now. It's to help me stay rooted and grounded in the timeline that's happening on the planet right now. So in this time of COVID, where we are not hanging out too much, not spending time outdoors unless we're alone or with family that we're sheltering with, it's really important to stay connected to nature. When the leaves fall, in your mind, think about, what do I need to release? The leaves don't struggle to come off of a tree. They actually just release themselves because they know that's what time it is. They're in alignment with nature, and that's the beauty of nature. It is alignment. The seasons are in alignment with the natural order of nature. So if we sit down and just feel about what it is that needs to fall away from us as we go into this new cycle. Because as we go into a new cycle, we don't want to take spring and summer with us. Some of us went through a lot. Most of us went through a lot in the spring and summer with COVID, changes on the planet around equanimity, racial justice, gender justice. There's so much that has come up. What do we need to let go of? What are we like clenching onto that we need to just open up and allow to go back into the earth so that we can make space in this time of fall to create and bring something new into the next cycle? To create and bring something new into the next cycle. Most of us were maxed out from spring and summer to the point to where some of us became ill, very stressed out. We lost jobs. We lost our connection, our tangible connection with the communities that we were used to connecting with. There were lots of losses. But at the same time, when things are taken away, there's also space that's made for something else. So what am I going to put into this new space? How can I create something that will sustain me during this fall cycle? So this is an opportunity. While the leaves are falling, I get to release. So just take a moment and feel about what it is that you want to release or need to release. And you note that I said feel about, because it's not about thinking. We can get in our heads as to what it is we need to do, but the body never lies. These pains and traumas are stored in the body. So what do I need to compost? because energy never dies. It can only be transformed. So as I release this energy, as the leaves do, in my imagination and allow them to fall to the earth, they're being recycled into sustainable energy that can grow a new seedling. So if I do the same thing, release some of the accumulation, whatever it may look like, whether it's fear, sadness, self-doubt, hopelessness, illness, the list could go on. If I am willing, which is really important, to will myself to come into alignment with the energy of fall, and to allow the energy that no longer serves me to fall away as the leaves do, what am I willing to let go of? Oftentimes there's a comfort level that's found in the trauma that we experience. And that comfort brings us a certain, I won't say joy, but it definitely brings us a certain level of empathy and sympathy from others that may not be what we actually need right now. Because in order to create something outside of the trauma, then we need to be able to release some of it to make space to create something new. Yes, we need to be able to release. And just feel what that feels like. Just know that as you let go, you're receiving at the same time. That is the nature of the universe. That is the nature of autumn. Because as autumn releases, the earth herself gains the fertility of that waste. So nothing actually goes to waste. If the waste becomes sustainable, so the waste that you have, the plethora of energy that needs to be transformed, can actually turn into viable, fertile sustenance that will help you go to the next phase. And the next phase, the next cycle of this life, the next season that we're in right now. See, when we come to a new season, we're at the threshold of a new door. And then we can either take the same thing in that door and recycle it again, and then take the same thing into winter. But we want to be mindful and take inventory of what we are taking into the fall, whether it pertains to relationships. You can take a moment to just feel about what it is about any relationship, whether it's with your parents, siblings, children, intimate relationships, partnership. Is there something that I do not want to take into this next cycle? It could be excessive arguing, it could be excessive codependency, it could be excessive, excessive. You know what I'm saying? Just, it's been too much. It's taken up too much of your energy, too much of your creative life force. So much so that it may have become parasitical. So you want to take inventory, and it's good to make a list of the people that are in your inner circle and look at the relationship that you have with them and the energy and dynamics that you created with them. What part of it needs to fall away? What part of it am I not willing to take into this new cycle? You can apply this to jobs. You can apply this to community connections that you have. And sometimes it can be as simple as applying it to your telephone. How much energy and what type of relationship have I built with this piece of technology where it calls me first thing in the morning? It summons me at night. It'll make me forget to do things that I really need to do to take care of myself. So it's about allowing energies, relationships with intimates to fall into alignment with your higher good. How is this serving me? Or how is it not serving me? So you get to clean up a little bit before you go into this new cycle, this new season. And I read a quote earlier today, and I love this quote, because it said, what am I taking across the threshold into, and I added autumn, let go of the old world, and a new world will appear. Let go of the old world, that means old world viewpoints, and a new world shall appear. It's a law of nature. If you let go of something, something else will come in its place. So oftentimes we have so much fear around allowing that energy to fall away because we built a foundation, or what appears to be a foundation, to stand on. And it appears as though it's supporting and sustaining us. But when we take a closer look and realize that we're not living in a world of scarcity, and that we are abundant in creating what we want as our foundation, we get a chance to look at and choose what we actually want without limitation. Without limitation. The only limitations are the limitations that we place on ourselves. So in the fall, there's an opportunity to just let it all fall away. Invite ourselves, challenge ourselves, if you will, to just let it all fall away. Just let it go. And then feel about the opening that happens, an opening that you've never experienced before. A pathway that has never been trailed. And that is your opportunity to create something new. Many of us have been working very tirelessly to create change on the planet in so many different venues, so many different forms, whether it's spirituality, whether it's protesting, whether it's writing letters, and this new, the voting is coming up. So we have been overtaxed. But you cannot imagine a new world through the eyes of fatigue, through the eyes of anger, through the eyes of fear, through the eyes of anything that needs to be composted, at least some of it. I'm not saying that a little bit of those things are not okay, but most of the time we're walking out of balance. So what are we willing to let go of? And just take a moment to feel about what it is, just one thing that you're willing to gift to the earth, to compost, because it doesn't matter on an energetic level. And we're talking about our energy. We're not talking about toxic substances in the way that it would create harm. We're talking energetically. Something that you just want to put in the earth, along with the leaves, along with that on the tree's branches, which no longer serves its good. It's making space for new branches. It's making space for the new life that comes about in the spring. It's making space for going into the winter, into the dormancy with not caring so much, to be able to freely move about. And I want you to just type into the chat room what came up for you immediately. Something that you didn't think about, something that you felt about, something that needs to fall away. And see, where we get stuck sometimes is we let it fall and then we go back and get it. Okay? We go back and pick it up. Let it fall and let it stay there. There's a critical point there, because when the leaves fall to the tree, they don't come back up. The branches don't stretch down to try to pick them up, and they don't try to blow their way back on. It's just out of order. It's out of order. So we can give ourselves the opportunity to allow something to fall away and just trust in the universe that whatever keeps the sun and the moon and the oceans at bay and intact to bring us life instead of take life can truly take whatever you have to give and transform it. There is no thing too big. And I want to speak specifically to folks that have any type of illness. Any type of illness. You can make a decision that you no longer require this. Okay, maybe it came to bring a message, but you no longer require. So I'm just going to let that fall away. Anything from cancer to COVID, it doesn't matter. We're going to let it fall away. Relationships that you've been hanging on to that are hanging on by a thread because you feel like there may not be a space for another one to open up, or you've gotten so used to it, let it fall away. Or the components of it that no longer serve you in the dynamic that you created with this person. You need shelter. There's something in your thinking that has kept you from manifesting, womb-manifesting the shelter in all of your basic needs. Let that fall away, beloved, because the universe is bigger than that. And we're crossing over into a threshold that is all about harvest. So it's time for you to harvest the parts of yourself that will create the world that you need to live in. So this is about harvest. Harvesting consciousness, harvesting heart space, harvesting creativity, harvesting love, harvesting good health, harvesting home, harvesting all of your needs. Harvesting all of your needs. And that the universe can supply that. So this is also an act of trust. Trusting that the universe will take care of you. Trusting that as we move into this cycle, that we are held in a way that we are sustained until we get to the winter. And then we will align our will with the principles that govern winter, and then we'll go into the spring, and then we'll go into the summer, and then we'll back at autumn again. So I want to just show you and invite you to create an altar inside.
Here we have from the community, the answers to their questions were letting go of fatigue, fear, needing others to feel value, not feeling lovable, excess items, anger, limitations, embracing authentic truth, and letting go of hard work, moving into smart work.
Moving into smart work. Someone mentioned stuff. Okay, they mentioned stuff. Let that stuff go. Just like the universe provided a way for you to receive it, you're going to get some more. And this time you'll get just as much as you need. Autumn is a time to, minimize, to downsize what we have. So stuff can block the pathway of what you really need to come in. Thank you for all those shares. I appreciate the transparency, because this is not a time to wear a mask. This is a time to actually release and let go of those leaves that have kept you in bondage. They served a point at one time, but now it's time to let go. Fall is about letting go. So again, we're going to go back to COVID. I can't maybe not hang out as much as I want to in the circles I want to, in nature as much as I want to. So we're going to bring it in. We're going to bring it in. And here's a little altar that I've set up. Guess what? It took me 5 minutes to do it. So it's not this big thing. You don't have to be anointed or initiated or any of that. You can just be who you are, the brilliant being that you are, the creative being that you are, and create your own altar space. So here we have a little bit of earth. I bought earth inside because earth is part of what keeps us grounded during this time. And earth is also where we come from. It is what we are made up of. So it reminds me that I am held. It reminds me that I'm grounded, and it reminds me that I'm supported. And get a piece of paper and write down earth, water, air, fire, and look at the ways that you are supported by the elements. And we've got water, and this is really special water that was collected by a friend of mine named Yatunde, and it was prayed over and came from the ocean. So you can get as creative as you want, but water It is the elixir of life. You want to keep water going in your body at all times, but especially in the fall and winter seasons, because that's where we get a little bit sedentary. We're not out as much. You know, the sun is not as bright as it normally is. We experience colder weather, so sometimes we get sedentary. And water will help keep the colon flushed out, the upper lower intestines, and that's where oftentimes that's where disease starts. It plants itself. Okay, so you really need to connect with water in a way that will keep your internal process moving and not get stagnant or sick. And then we've got fire, and fire is our creative energy. Fire helps us to ignite ourselves in order to call forth more of who we are, and to stop playing small. Just say if you put fire under your, you know, your parent may have said, or your a significant elder may have said, I'm going to put some fire under their bottom. That meant, let's get going, let's make it happen. Okay, well, no matter what you're moving through, you made it through COVID. You're still here. So if you are still here, then there are possibilities for you beyond your wildest imagination. And fire represents that creativity. Fire represents changing the old into the new. There is not one thing that I cannot put in the fire where it won't change it. Fire's like, oh, well, I'm not doing wood today, so if I put wood here, it's not going to change. That'll never happen with fire. So if you put the fear, the anger, the self-doubt, the fatigue, the sadness, all that into the fire, beloved, it will change. If it doesn't, inbox me. So we've got fire, earth, air, and we've got leaves to represent air. Just 1 second. And be mindful of the tree that you get your leaves from. These came from elder. And so alder. And so alder, some of you may be familiar, they've got little eyes on them. And alder is also a good pick-me-up and get it right. It's a get it right herb. Let's get grounded, get in the body. It helps with the immune system. So be mindful of what leaves you pick. And the reason I chose leaves is because you will actually get a chance to experience, even more so if you go get a large bowl of earth and put the leaves on top, the decomposition that happens. You'll get to journey into this decomposition process with the leaves, which is the same thing that's happening inside of you. A decomposition process of what you no longer need going into the soil to return as viable fertilizer, some humus. You can look it up, Humus, which if we didn't have humus on the planet, we would not be able to eat. Okay, so your waste, your excess, the abundance of too much of anything, anger, fear, doubt, sadness, all of it is actually waiting to be turned into viable energy. So don't hold on to it. You're out of order. You're stagnant. You're blocking yourself. By hanging on to your sadness, hanging on to your anger, hanging on to your fear, you are out of alignment. And you can look forward to illness if you are not willing to let go of it. I don't wish that on anybody. You're calling it forth for yourself. Okay? And if you need support in that, then, you know, find a friend or an associate or someone who is not going to lie to you. Oftentimes we want to only talk to those people who are going to co-sign what we don't need. We want somebody to tell it like it is. And again, I'm short on time. I have a lot going on in my life, but inbox me and I'll give you a little blurb that'll maybe help snap you out of it or activate you to move past yourself. Okay, so this is magic right here. This is not waste. These leaves fall with intention. So when they fall away, what is your intention? Let it fall with intention. Again, don't let it fall and then pick it back up. Okay? Give it to mama. She knows what to do with it. We don't know what to do with it all the time. And that all the therapy in the world sometimes is not going to fix it. Not therapists are awesome, but sometimes you need to go to nature to get things in balance. Okay, we all need to go to nature and to get in alignment with her seasons, because there's an intention behind winter, spring, summer, and fall. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. All you have to do is call, and I'll fix you, baby. Okay? I didn't take up singing as a living. But anyway, you get the point. We cannot live without the seasons. If we just stayed in a state of hot all the time, we'd be out of balance. So, we've got our leaves, and then you can adorn it with some fall-like, this is cedar and pine that came from my mother's house in Mississippi. This is a different type of sage that came from New Mexico. And these are just some beautiful orange-colored oranges. And you can also add a crystal on there, because crystals take everything up a notch. Any crystal that calls out to you. And then there's a little sage that we have here. Sage just helps to cleanse the area. The sage. Okay, so this is the sage. It's just a tiny piece of sage. And sage just helps to cleanse the area. So cleanse your area with sage and set yourself up. Because this altar is an out picturing of who you are in the process that is happening outside of you, that is also happening inside of you. So I'm excited about us composting our stuff. I'm excited about us gifting what no longer serves us back to the earth, and it is something to get excited about. So the only reason that I'm not jumping up and down right now is because I've got to stay stationary in front of the camera. But you should be jumping up and down, and if you can't jump up and down, wave your hands in the air, because it's something to celebrate. You are allying with one of the 4 most powerful times of the year. And it actually accentuates when we get the full moon and the new moon coming in, which are soon to come. When those times come, it takes the energy up a notch. Okay? So you've got all that you need. The only thing that will hold you back is your unwillingness to let go and to gift back which no longer serves you. Oh, let's see. Fall, there's so many examples, but the best example is that you live the example, that you become the example. I could give you numerous examples, but you've got to be willing to say yes. And something that I didn't mention is to invite you to go out and just sit, find an energy where there are leaves and maybe a tree, and just sit, and then write a commitment. Write a commitment to yourself, and ask the tree to witness. Ask the tree to hold you. Ask the tree to ally with you. After you write it, burn it, and then take that ash of your commitment, I just put it on a little piece of paper, and sprinkle it around the tree. That medicine, that becomes medicine. It becomes information, and that information is absorbed by the tree. And every day, or every time you think about it, just go and hug that tree and communicate. I need help. When things get rough, hey, I need help. Because the trees are living entities. And that's a completely different conversation about tree medicine. But if that little bit will help you. And what you are letting go of becomes the hummus of your life.
I have a hand raised from Karen.
And the hummus to create your new reality. Yes, Karen? Hand is raised.
Can you say that process again of what we're writing on the paper that we're leaving at the tree, please?
Absolutely. So just say, for instance, someone said anger, and it's been tough getting rid of this anger. So I'm going to go out and take a walk, and the tree will choose me. I will not choose the tree. You'll be magnetized to this tree. find out the type of tree it is, get to know the tree. But what you want to do is take a little 3x5 and write on there what you are willing to release and ask the tree to help you. Ask for help. And this majestic being will help you. So after you write it on the 3x5, take a match, light it, let it turn into ash, and you can use a little bowl similar to this, something that's not going to melt or burn, that can hold it. You might even want to mix it with some tobacco or sage, and then mix your intention in there once it turns to ash. Because once again, we've got fire, and fire will change whatever you put a match to. It will change. We've witnessed that over the past month across Southern California. So once you do that, you sprinkle that medicine. This becomes medicine. It becomes an offering. It becomes, it will turn into the humus that happens just below the surface of the soil. Those leaves go into humus, and then it becomes fertilizer. So that fertilizer becomes something to nurture and fertilize and help you grow your new intentions as you go into the winter. And then definitely you'll see some sprouting happening in the spring, if not before then. So that is the process. And as you go, even though the ash is the gift, take a gift. You know, take a little water and offer. You can even offer the tree a song. You can offer the tree a dance. But I guarantee you, when you leave, you will be lighter. It is utterly impossible for anyone to come to me and say, well, I got nothing. I got nothing. You didn't get anything because you weren't open to it. But if you go with an open heart or closed, you're going to get something anyway, because that's how nature works. Once we gift them something, gift to the womb, it comes back to us. It's just the law of nature. It cannot happen any other way than that, because nature is a giver, and it likes to keep things in balance. Once we give, we automatically receive. So if it doesn't show up immediately, it will come in time, and it usually doesn't take long. The only reason it takes a while is because we sometimes have to get out of our head to catch up to it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we can ceremonialize and ritualize this process. Keep your altar up for at least a minimum of 21 days, but if you want to, take it all the way into the season. Change it. You can make it as creative as possible. You can put fruits on there and vegetables that mimic, they don't mimic, they're an outbirthing of fall. So you'll choose the foods that are in alignment for that particular season. And you can get orange candles or green candles and incense. You can just make it as beautiful or simple as you want to. One thing I forgot to mention, and that was...
Another question.
I don't want to forget this, and I'll take the question, but I don't want to forget this, is that in Chinese medicine, the lungs and the large intestine are to be paid close attention to. It's a good time to really take care of your lungs. There's lots of herbs. Please just do your research. Mullein, thyme, chickweed, horehound, fenugreek, all of those help to keep the herbs, the lungs nurtured and healthy, because that's another time where the air gets colder, and if you're in Southern California, the air is dirty. So we're bringing that in combined with cold air, and we can set our immune system up for illness. And with the larger intestines, we want to do a flush. You can do enemas, colonoscopy, not colonoscopy, colonic. You can get a colonic done just to be in alignment with the season, to flush that out of any bacteria that's not going to serve you. Yes?
Pause one moment. They're having trouble hearing. Let me come
wow.
a little closer.
Okay. Do I need to speak louder?
Let's try. Keep doing a test. Everyone
Okay, can
on
you hear
Zoom,
me now?
please let me know with a thumbs up or thumbs down if you can hear yet.
Can you hear okay? Is that better? Are folks, is that better? Can you hear me okay?
No, they said it's still breaking up. Let's try something. Okay, testing.
Can you hear me now?
No? Okay. Okay, test again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Oh,
Is it better? Yes.
is that better? Okay, where did I
Yes.
leave off? I think I left off with lungs.
Correct.
Okay, I'll move a little bit
Yeah,
fast.
we didn't hear like maybe 2 minutes or maybe 3 minutes before that.
Okay, I think did you get everything about the tree offering?
The tree offering was complete.
Okay,
Yes.
and the second part was to mention in Chinese medicine the organs that are to pay close attention to in the fall are the lungs and the large intestine, and we know that in the large intestine that's really where most dis-ease starts. That's where the bacteria settles. That's where stagnation happens. That's why it's so important to connect with water and flush out with water. And also, I'm going to recommend or suggest, if you've never had a colonic, to get one done. Every season, it's just good to maybe to flush out the old from the season before, flush that out, and then go into the new season with a clean colon, and also replace it with probiotics and good bacteria. And with the lungs, you really want to take care of the lungs, because not only are we, especially in Southern California, breathing in dirty air, now the air is going to be cold. So cold and dirty air do not go together. It intensifies the work that our lungs have to do. So I'm going to throw a couple lung herbs out there that have really worked well for me, and I am challenged with my lungs, are mullein, horehound, thyme, chickweed, fenugreek. Those are all, and you can add to this, you can do your own research, and just make yourself a nice tea, and take care of your lungs. Those are two organs that we have to pay close attention to. And lastly, I'm going to invite all of us to pickle our purpose, to pickle our intentions, to pickle what we want to see happen in our lives. And what that means is you can choose any fruit or mostly vegetable of your choice, some fruits, and pickle them. Get a jar, get a YouTube, figure out how to pickle, and just say, this is me. I'm going to pickle my purpose for this season. And there's something about allowing that process to happen, setting your intention in it, and then eating it. Just say, for instance, you pickle love. So every piece of, and you got a cucumber, you chop it up and you pickle it. You add some, you might add some garlic to it. You might add, just to spice it up, maybe some peppers. And every time you eat it, you have intentioned this piece of nature in a jar that's waiting for you to ingest it. So pickling is something that, in jarring, canning is something that we've gotten away from, and it's something that it would probably be really smart for us to go back to, especially the way things have been in the last few months. Going back to the earth and learning some of the old ways to sustain ourselves will be very helpful. But pickling your purpose would, not only is that fun, but it's also tasty. It's also tasty. And you can bring children in. Everything that I'm sharing with you, please share it with the child if you've got a child in your life. Because we are never too old or young to let things fall away. Babies accumulate too. And we've been in this vortex for the last several months. And so just because they haven't been voicing how they feel or articulating what's happening in the world, that doesn't mean that they don't pick it up energetically. So if you've got a little one, take them out with you and create a ceremony around it, and just allow them to go through the same process that you're going through. And I think if there are no more questions or comments, I think our time is up. This is a lot. This is a lot to sit with. But I feel that if you bring that altar in the house, there's nothing like watching the decomposition of a thing and knowing that I'm in alignment with this decomposition. And as the decomposition happens, I am making more space and turning the energy that no longer serves me into fertilizer. And I get to use that fertilizer to nurture and grow my new intentions. It is an absolute ceremony. It is absolute, and those altars can change with each season. So if there's, I think we concluded for the day. Pickle your purpose, get your altar going, and try not to spend any money. You may have to spend a little money to get the candle. But if you really want to go back to basics, make your own candle. Get some beeswax or some old candles, melt them down, get the wick in there. You can, if you have time to do that. But just have fun with it. Yes.
We have Kathy.
Yes.
Yes, I want to know, is there any book that you could recommend for this time of year? Some insightful book, or reading material that we could take a look at?
I've got several books on my shelf, and we've just started packing books away. But I would write, and I don't know the names off the top of my head, but any book that talks about the 4 seasons and how they align with us personally. Because there's a lot of 4 seasons, the seasonal books out there, but they don't always talk about. So you want one that's on a holistic level, and you can probably go, look on Amazon to get a book list. If you don't use Amazon, you can just get creative and punch in books on the seasons as it relates to our physical body. And yeah, I may be able to later put one in where would I put that?
You can share it on Saturday when you announce.
I can share some on
your
Saturday.
Your ceremony.
Because Saturday we're going to go deeper into the essence of autumn. We have ceremony on Saturday, this coming Saturday, and
Zoom only.
I'll try to get the books, have at least a couple books that we can read and get more familiar. That way you can prepare yourself as you go into the season, the new season. So because there is a preparation, it's like you're getting ready to go on a trip. You wouldn't just get up the next morning and walk out of the house. You pack and make sure you have everything you need in order to take this trip in a good way. It's the same thing with the seasons. People now are harvesting old apples that they had, pears, and they're canning. And that is, I can't stress that enough to get into that. Learn how to make your own detergent. Learn how to make your own dish soap. It's at our fingertips right now. Things are accessible right now. Do these things and get your pantry. Prepare your pantry for the fall and the winter. And you can do that with your own hands.
Thank you, Queen.
Oh, you're welcome, Kathy. Thank you to everyone. Blessings in this new season. May you be able to measure the changes that happen. Because oftentimes we're just closed off. We just keep doing the same thing over and over again. But make a note of where you are now at the beginning of this season and where you are even 30 days from now, when you're paying attention and taking the time at your altar, maybe just 5-10 minutes a day, to monitor what am I letting go of. Maybe even start the morning off. I'm going to shuffle out, let this go. I'm going to intention this day for more joy instead of more sadness. So I'm letting go of sadness, and go to the dollar store and make yourself get a little journal.
We have thanks and blessings today to Fatima. Thanks and blessings to Karen. Thanks and blessings to Karina. Thanks and blessings to Kathy. Thanks and blessings to Marion. Thanks and blessings to Mary. Thanks and blessings to Paradon. Thanks and blessings to River. Thanks and blessings to Wanda. Thanks and blessings to Zabah. And thanks and blessings to 7387. We also have thanks and blessings to Marie. Thanks and blessings to Axe Destruction. Let's see. 1 second. I don't see the rest on Facebook. But apologies, but giving thanks to those who are on Facebook as well.
Lastly, I'd like to say, if you know someone that is suffering with COVID or any other type of illness, somehow encourage them to get nature inside of their home. Whether it's making a sage bundle, a pine bundle, a cedar bundle, get it in bed with them. Get it somewhere close to their being, and allow them to experience the energy of fall. Even though they may not be able to get out of bed, somehow get it to them so that they can be in alignment and that they can benefit from the healing wisdom of nature as it relates to fall, so that whatever no longer serves them can fall away and they can come into alignment. Nature is our biggest healer and our biggest equalizer and our biggest ally, and you can definitely trust its language. Good night and blessings during this season. Saturday we will have our ceremony of the Earth Lodge. Will be on Zoom, and if you haven't received the information yet, just send us sign up at www.earthlodgecenter.org and you will receive our newsletter. We look forward to taking the journey with you on Saturday, and blessings and perfect health and daytime dreams come true during this season. And don't forget to pickle your purpose. Ashe. Thank you.
you.
Thank you.